There are over 2 million licensed real estate agents in good old United States of America. And the question is, how are you going to find the right agent for you? Now, I am going to first talk about some pitfalls that I see a lot of these home buyers and sellers making when they're selecting their agent. And I'm also going to give you some helpful tips, what to look for when you're hiring that agent. But before I do that, please subscribe and don't judge the hair. I'm trying something new on. It's not working for me today. The top mistake that I see home sellers and buyers making when selecting their agent is they go off of maybe likability, comfortability, or pressure. A lot of us have family members that have their real estate license and you feel obligated to use them. I see that all the time. Or you have a son who's in a basketball team and there's a family that has their real estate license and they're pressuring you to use them to sell or buy a property. Maybe you just have somebody that's constantly calling you and knocking on your door and you feel obligated because they put so much effort forth. So you're making this decision not based off of research, but you're making it off of emotion. And so I'm going to encourage you not to do that. I'm not saying one of those people that I just described isn't a good agent. I'm just saying do your research, right? Interview 3 people, look them up online. I'll get into some of the criteria in just a minute. But don't just go off of, okay, uncle, yeah, I'm going to go with you because that's the path of least resistance. This is a very important decision and you're making a very important choice to put your house on the market or to purchase, and you need to have the proper representation. It is your job to do the research. I'm going to share with you one of my failures. Yes, I do make mistakes. So learn from them. About a month ago, I had one of you out there, one of my YouTube followers, call me out to interview for the job of selling their home. And they did exactly what I told them to do. They interviewed 3 agents. I met them at their house. Their house was lovely. They put a ton of upgrades and a lot of loving maintenance in the home. You could just tell it was just a special property, and I was thrilled to hopefully represent them in the sale of their home. A week later goes by and I get an email. The dreaded email. Audra, we love you. You're professional. You're beyond fantastic. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, but we're going to go with someone else. And the reason they gave me that they went with somebody else is because he said, it's just kind of a guy thing. I just felt more comfortable working with a guy. It was kind of like a manly thing. And, I was hurt. I'm like, what? And then I go look at their agent who they hired, and it's like, oh my gosh, the seller didn't do their research. They didn't realize probably that this agent hasn't sold a lot of properties in the last 5 years. They didn't have super nice pictures and marketing. They weren't going to stage the property. I would have provided much better service. And I'm not saying that to be arrogant. It's just the truth. The other thing you have to realize is when you're hiring these agents, they're not your friends. I really got the vibe from this email that they kind of wanted to have a friendshipy experience and they wanted to have their buddy come over and crack some beers and let's go, fix some things around the house. You guys, you're hiring this agent for professional services and you want to find the agent that's going to represent you the best with the highest quality professional services out there. Now, with that said, I truly do want the best for the family. I truly do. I just wish I was the one they selected. I'm not going to lie about that. I mean, after all, right? This is my job. The second mistake that I see these home buyers and sellers making is they just over-focus on price. I want to hire the agent who wants to give me the best price for my house. And for you buyers out there, you could be saying, I want the agent who's going to negotiate hundreds of thousands of dollars off the price. Like it's over-focused on the price. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. And that is the market's going to bear what the market's going to bear. And the sooner you get on board with that, the sooner you will have success. Your agent cannot demand a price. The market is the one that demands the price. Who you want to hire is someone that understands the comps or are willing to hire an appraiser to give you fair market value. That is the best advice I can give you in that category. Okay, now I'm going to share with you yet another failure. Probably no one's going to hire me after this, but I'm being vulnerable and I think we all have to learn from mistakes, right? So I had another one of you, YouTube followers, reach out to me, interview for the listing of their home. I spent 3.5 hours with this lady, and let me tell you, she was a die-hard Audra Lambert YouTube follower. She watched all my YouTube videos. She had everything perfect in her house. I mean, I was really proud of her, and I really liked her. Well, at the end of the day, she ended up hiring a different team because we disagreed on price. I'm going to be very honest with you, and I want you to listen very carefully when it comes to price. The market's going to bear what the market's going to bear, no matter what price you list your house for. So if you list your house for too high it ain't going to sell. If you list your house for too low, you're going to get multiple offers that are going to drive it up to market value. So when we didn't agree on price, she went with somebody else that would agree with her price. And she fell out of escrow several times, and she ended up selling slightly above what my recommended list price was. And I don't need to be a know-it-all here. And I'm happy that she sold her house. But I guarantee you there was a lot of pain and agony through that transaction because the seller couldn't get their head around what the value of their house is. If you are hiring an agent, don't go with the one that offers the highest price. I mean, maybe if it makes sense. But if it's the highest price, you have to ask what their motivation is. Are they just trying to get the deal? Are they trying to get you to sign a contract so they're locked in with you? And more than likely, it's yes. Like, you should be able to know within a reasonable doubt what market value is, plus or minus. And if you know you're pushing the price a little bit, and this agent, because I get this all the time, oh, I just love that agent because they really believe in the value of the house or the price that I want. Okay, well, they can believe all they want, folks, but I'm telling you, the buyers are the ones that you're going to have to convince. And let me tell you, they're going to look at comps, they're going to look at the current economic conditions, and they're going to make a fair market value price. And the more you get dialed into what the price of your home is, the better. Then it comes down to who's going to be the best agent that's going to guide you through that process. Do your due diligence. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And as you guys know, this is kind of my side hustle. In fact, I'm off to an open house after this YouTube video. So please support me. I need your help. I get this question a lot, and that is, Audra, should I be working with an individual agent or should I be working with a team? I'm just going to tell you, it really depends. You need to interview. You need to understand what services they're providing. You need to understand what support they have in place. So the benefit of working with an individual agent is you're talking to them directly. You get customer service directly from them. You're getting the feedback from them. The downside of working with an individual agent is what happens if they get sick, or what happens if they have multiple listings, and how are they going to get it all done? Because there's a lot to do if you do find an agent that's doing it right. It's a tremendous amount of work selling a house. So how are they going to be able to support you and offer the services they're going to provide if it's only them? So you need to really ask those questions. And the positive, and I say the con to working with a team, is that it can be kind of impersonalized, right? Sometimes you just get emails and text messages, and the person that did that listing presentation, you never hear from. So if you are interviewing with the team, you're going to want to ask them, hey, who's going to be doing the open house? Who's going to be doing those showings? Who am I going to hear from? How is your team run? What people will I be communicating with? Now, in my personal team, I am trying to develop what I call a very niche team, in the fact that our sole purpose is to offer superior customer service. And I can't do that as an individual agent. So I have people that are on my team that help support the services that I promise to my clients. And I can't do that by myself. You are going to want to interview both an individual agent and an agent on a team. You just need to understand the difference and kind of the feel would be my recommendation. Now, in the description box down below, I do have a link with interview questions that you can ask these listing agents or their teams and the buyer's agents. Really important that you ask these questions. After asking these questions and going through the interview process, the best one should rise to the top. Another question I get a lot is, Audra, should I hire an agent or should I hire a broker? And once again, it really just depends. I would interview both. The main difference between an agent and a broker is what test they passed. So you have some really good brokers out there, and you have some brokers that just get their license because just one other credential they have, and they're not actively participating or selling homes. So be careful with that. Also, when you go to a broker, they could potentially tell you, hey, yeah, I'm working with some agents and I'm coaching some agents, and so I'll give you somebody that I'm mentoring. And what that means is that broker usually gets about 30% of that agent that they're coaching to help them through the process. Just be careful with that, right? So if you are interviewing a broker to represent you in either the purchase or the buying of another property, ask them that question. Like, am I working directly with you, or am I going to be working with one of your newbies? And if they say you'll be working with one of your newbies, I'd say, if you're paying a full service commission, I would be a little hesitant in that. And if you're interviewing those agents, realize there's 2 million agents in the United States of America. They're not all good. So it is your job as a seller or a buyer to really find the best representation, the very best you can find. And I encourage you, down below, interview at least 3 agents and ask these interview questions down below for the buyer's agent and the listing agent. You'll thank me later for that. When you're interviewing these buyer's agents or these listing agents and you're feeling pressure, Like that agent's like wanting you to sign an agreement right now. And they're saying things like, you have any hesitations about hiring me right now because I want to overcome any of these obstacles right now. So you'll go with me. And salesy, used car salesman approach. Like, red flag, don't go there, okay? And our business, at least us older generation, I am 55 this year. I am a junior senior citizen. So I can say this with confidence. We were taught to sell and close. And let me tell you, most people don't like to be closed on and pushed. Our defense mechanisms come up. How that agent is working with you is how they're going to be working with that buyer or seller. And let me tell you, it's a complete turnoff. Do not sign any listing agreement or even a buyer's agent agreement until you know what you're signing, and make sure you feel comfortable that this person that you're working with has high ethics, has experience and knowledge, and will support you through that process. That you salesman type of pitch is no bueno, and quite frankly, it's going to scare away any buyer and seller if that approach is used on them as well. Beware. Okay, we need to talk about this, and that is commissions. Now, most of you out there are listening to this, and you're hearing all the lawsuits and all the stuff that's out there, and you're trying to find the agent that's going to give you the lowest commission. And when you're interviewing these agents, I'm all about negotiating your commissions. Don't hear me wrong. Like, I'm all about that. But the goal is not to find the cheapest agent, okay? The one you're trying to find is the one that's going to invest in your property, the one that has that experience, that's going to negotiate more money for you. And now I feel like I have to redeem myself right now. I did have a YouTube follower actually hire me to sell their home. And they did what I told them to do. They interviewed at least 3 agents, and I was the one with the highest commission structure. I'm like, hey, you get what you pay for. These are all the things I'm going to provide for you, and I promise you I will get you the best price and terms out there. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I paid for that home inspection report. I got that appraisal done up front, offered some staging services. I brought my handyman and got some of the minor repairs that I saw that needed to be done before we put the house on the market. The house went on the market. We got 6 offers. We negotiated all those offers. I got $65,000 over what the market value was on the property. Not to mention, we were able to close the deal with absolutely no repairs up front because we had that home inspection and we negotiated it up front. I'm telling you that primarily because I'm going to brag a little bit. Good job, Audra. But also to let you know that if you're hiring an agent, they should be able to get you more money to cover and offset some of that extra commission you're going to pay for superior services, expertise, and professionalism. I hope you hear me on that. I do have a referral business, and if you are looking for agents to interview, once again, you're going to interview at least 3. I'm happy to provide some agents in your area to interview. I have a team that looks at all the photos and the reviews, and we actually call these agents. We talk to them over the phone. The benefit of using our service is that we do have kind of an instinct. We know the right questions to ask these agents. It's just one extra, I'll say, vetting process that you don't have to go through. So if you're interested in this service, there will be a link down below in the description box. But at a minimum, you're going to promise me right now that you're going to interview at least 3 agents, whether you're selling a home or buying a home. Promise me you'll do that, right? If you're hiring an agent, you need to do your research, right? So it's pretty dang easy. You just go into the Google browser, type in that realtor's name, Audra Lambert, Realtor, and you'll see all the stuff that comes up. Another way to find out how many sales an agent has actually sold is look in Zillow. So you would type in Audra Lambert Zillow, okay? And you'll see all my sales come up. My reviews are there. You'll notice some of the properties are listed, so you can go into each one of those property listings to see how the photos look, what kind of description I'm using, et cetera, et cetera. I've had some of you say, I just don't know if the sales that they say they're selling is actually accurate. So one way to look at that is Zillow. Once again, they do populate from MLS. It's not always 100% accurate, but if you're looking up an agent and their Zillow profile doesn't pop up, it's probably not the agent for you. Everyone that sells real estate full-time, usually, in most cases, has a Zillow page because we know how important Zillow and some of the other real estate websites are when it comes to selling a home. If your agent's not doing that, I say find someone else. You will also want to check your realtor's credentials. Every state has their real estate regulatory body, and you want to check to make sure that their license is active. You won't believe how many agents don't have active licenses. They don't want to take the test, or they don't want to pay the dues, and they don't have any business being a real estate agent if they're not active. So check it out. Something else you should do is ask for references. Like if you were to go to a job interview, you always write down at the end of your resume, references available upon request. So I would ask these agents, do you have some references I can call? And please call them. It's really important because you'll find out a lot of information when you're talking to those references. It's going to surprise you. And when you're interviewing these agents, listen very closely to what they're saying, even in their body language, how they're coming across, how they're working with you is how they're going to be presenting with the buyers or the sellers out there, okay? So listen, can they take a very complex subject and make it simple for you to understand? So for example, you should ask the question like, tell me about the process. If I sign a contract with you, tell me the steps. And there's a lot of steps. And if they're able to simplify it and you walk away with a better understanding, great. But if they're fumbling and talking like 7 levels above you, I don't know if that's going to be a good fit. So I'm going to communicate with you right now. And that is, please subscribe to my channel if you like that. But, you do need to really pay attention to their style and if it's a good fit for you. Buying and selling a home is one of the more important choices we make as human beings out there. So finding the right agent is so important. So when you're selecting an agent, you're going to take the emotions out of it, okay? You're not going to get guilted in by your family or your friends or the agent that's taken you out to lunch a million times or, the good old boy that you're just going to kick back and drink beers and this is going to be a fun process. We're going to take all of that out of the equation and we're going to focus on the best professional who's going to offer you the best services and is going to get you the best price and terms. And the best way to do that is to interview those agents, ask some questions, do your due diligence, and go with your gut. You know who that right agent is for you. And if you don't know yet, then you just keep interviewing until you find the right one. My name is Audra Lambert, and I am one of the top producing agents out here in Orange County, California. If you have interest in buying or selling a home, please give me a call. I'd love to interview for that position. But of course, you're going to interview at least two other agents. Anyway, thanks so much for supporting me on this channel. Please smash that like button and subscribe to this channel. It would mean the world to me. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.